Hey, you guys, welcome to Splinterlands TV. It is I, the Psy, and I am back with a bit of a doozy here for you. So, a little bit of a background here. As you know, Doloknight and Gathering the Magic and I were doing kind of like a little bit of a streamer contest between us. Results to follow soon when Dolo's got things ready to go. But when we were doing kind of like a little follow up and everything, we just started chatting about potential like game modes, basically, or other contests that we'd be able to do together. And in so talking about that, this concept came up about a mode similar to like a Hunger Games. And we were thinking, okay, well, maybe we make like 12 accounts or something like that, and we put in X cards within each account, and then we give out the keys to like 12 different people, etc., etc. And then those people go into a battle royale using only the accounts and the cards within the accounts that they have, and we see who gets the most wins, etc., etc. And we were just kind of going back and forth over and over, and until this idea started to form about not just a new contest for us streamers to do with each other, but an entirely new game mode. And jokingly, I was like, oh, buddy, I got to go and make a video about this. But you know, was it really a joke? It was such a good idea, but I would hate to just kind of see this be on the shelf and not at least kind of throw this out there for the greater Splinterlands community to kind of talk about, maybe mull around, and hey, maybe one of the higher ups will see it. It's easy to code, and boom, they decide, hey, let's do it. Let's make this mode. So between like Gathering and Doloknight and I, we kind of were thinking, hey, to suit kind of what's going on here with this mode, it's almost like Hunger Games. Now, what do I mean by saying that? First off, this mode in itself, let's call it Hunger Games, okay, is going to take advantage of two of the best new developments within Splinterlands. The first thing that's going to take advantage of is straight up over here. It is on play, rank play, it is survival mode. So the fact that what actually exists right now is that there's a format that when a card is destroyed, then that card goes on cooldown, etc., and cannot be used again. Okay, so that's the first component. The second component is going to be, how do I get back to the main screen here? Play. The second component is going to be the use of ghost cards, because now we know that we've got access to ghost cards as well. So we've got the two components that are going to be required to make this new game mode effective. We've got ghost cards, so that everyone can have whatever cards that they want, and we've got survival mode, so we have the ability to go and we have the ability to turn off a card if it's destroyed. So here's the bigger picture, okay? Picture this, okay? So you've got modern, you've got wild, you've got survival, and then you've also got hunger mode, Hunger Games, okay? The way that Hunger Games would work, and again, all of these details, they can all be kind of switched around and modified if we wanted to, okay? We wanted another kind of like human mode. So this is a human play only world, okay? Human play only mode that you'd be able to play. It's another way for just humans against humans. And the reason why I say that is because think about the Hunger Games. That was humans against humans trying to become the last one left, right? So it's kind of survivally, but we got to give it a different name. Survival already exists, okay? So how this mode works, and this is just preliminary thoughts, okay, is that everyone starts off with one max level ghost card of every single card that exists in the game. So you go ahead here, you choose hunger mode, and within your account, you've got a ghost card maxed of every card that exists, okay? And the way that it would work is now like survival mode, except the cards don't come back. There is no refresh on these cards, okay? If a card is dead, that card is dead and gone, period. That's the end of the story. You don't get to play that card anymore. I don't care if it's gold foil or not. There's no cooldown. It's done, okay? That's the whole point of survival mode, okay? I don't know exactly what the best way to use as a measurement would be. There's two ways I was thinking initially. One way to measure how well you're doing in survival mode is just like based on like a ranking point system. How many games did you win, basically? Right? But what I thought an even cooler metric would be how many cards did you eliminate? So how many cards did your team kill in the Hunger Games, basically, is the way that we can look at it. So if you're fighting your opponent, oh, sorry guys. If you're fighting your opponent and your team loses one card, but their team is wiped out, and obviously if their team dies, then that Planeswalker is done as well. Or sorry, not Planeswalker, that Summoner is gone as well, right? So you lose 1 card, they lose 6 cards basically. You would get 6 points. They would still get 1 point. Even though they lost, they would still get a point because they did take out one of your cards, right? Which makes it kind of fun because you can still get points even for a loss. So I know in survival mode, you're like, darn, I lost. I got nothing basically. In this mode, even if you lose, if you kill a character, you're still going to get a point for that victory, okay? So I think that might be a really good way to measure it. Wouldn't be on the number of games that you've won necessarily, but might be on the number of cards that you've eliminated for other people. And we know that metric exists because we've got depleted cards over here. So based on the fact that we know how many cards are depleted, we'd also know other people would know how they were eliminated, right? Because if we're showing depleted cards, then there has to be some measurement of how these cards became depleted, right? So you should be able to use that coding. Now, how do we enter into this mode? Because clearly you're not playing with your own cards at this point, right? Like the purpose of survival mode was buy a bunch of cards, have duplicates and everything, because when the card's gone, you're going to need another copy of that card to be able to continue to play survival mode. So how do we make an entry point for hunger mode here that is going to reflect the fact that we need some kind of prizing for it, but also the fact that you're not using your own cards? And the only way that we could think of for this is when it was like really starting to click, is if we did something similar to a wild pass, and we did it like the hunger pass basically. Okay, so you get your Hunger Games pass and it would maybe cost 2,000 DEC as well. You're thinking to yourself, man, for 2,000 DEC, how am I supposed to be able to go ahead and like justify spending 2,000 DEC? And here's what we thought would be really cool. What if the rewards for hunger mode was based on the number of people who actually entered? And it was something like the DEC that goes in, or you can even pay an SPS, burn that SPS into DEC, and then have that DEC as the prizing. But whatever amount of money gets put into it, maybe half of it is burned, and then half of it is given out as prizing again. Now, I want to do it hardcore. Like, whoever wins gets everything. It's Hunger Games after all. Imagine what that would mean. Imagine the grinding that you would potentially do within hunger mode if the number 1 person on the board got everything, got basically 50% of every DEC that was sent in. Just think about that for a minute, okay? If we had 100 people who went in, now that would represent low match liquidity. So I mean, that's one of the things that we might need to figure out in here as far as like match liquidity. How do we go and actually have these matches going? But let's just say if there was 100 people and each one of those guys put in 2,000 DEC, that would be 200,000 DEC. If you were to burn 100,000 of that, you'd still have 100,000 DEC for whoever comes in first. And that's off 100 people, right? If we were to get, let's just take a look over here. Let's go to Peak Monsters. Let's go to Explore. Let's go to, what is it? Stats Dashboard. Okay. Wow, look at the number of games played here in Survival, eh? Okay, if we were to go and we were to look at Modern, and Modern has, darn it, I don't know what I'm doing. Games played, new players, or we're not looking at new players, we're looking at existing players. Where are you guys? Accounts, okay. So if it's looking like we've got 4,480 accounts. Let's ramp this up, okay? Let's ramp this up. Let's say that 500 people go ahead and enter, okay? That's pretty low. That's 1/8, and I'd say that we've definitely got 500 dedicated Splinterlands players. Like if we were just looking at the minimum and minimums, we've got 500 players for sure. Okay, so let's do 500 now times 2,000 EEC. That's going to be 1 million EEC. You burn half of that, 500,000 DEC is now remaining, and if we gave that all out to whoever won, that's like basically a peg $500. That is incentive for people to play this mode. You think the rewards are big in survival mode? Dude, if someone was potentially the number 1 player, got 500,000 DEC for winning, for being the last one surviving, or for being the one who got the most kills basically in survival mode, that is a reward worth trying to grind for. That is a reward worth showing your skill. That would get back, I'll bet, those people like Yuye, I think I'm definitely pronouncing his name like Yuye, who used to be that #1 silver player and stuff and isn't playing anymore because, I mean, league caps were removed. That would bring back all those people who say, you know what? I want to take the chance at making $500 off of my $2 investment. And I think that would drive a lot of battles into it. Now, again, the closer it gets to the end of the season, the less match liquidity there would be because the more accounts would have dead cards in them. Right? Like once you lose your Yo and you lose your Kitty, you lose like all of your Chaos Legion summoners and stuff. You got no Mylor left, you got no Lorna Shine. You're probably not going to play that much anymore, you know? So as the season goes on, match liquidity could go down. And again, that's the only thing that I'm seeing right now that could potentially cause a bit of a problem, and that's match liquidity. We might want to just try a season or two and see how that match liquidity ends up working out. But all in all, I think that this is a great way to go ahead and burn some DEC, or you can make the entry fee SPS, burn all that SPS into DEC, then still burn half of that DEC and still give this out as a prize, basically. Now, again, if we didn't want to be too greedy, okay, and if we didn't want to say, you know, 500,000, that's quite a lot to just give to one person, and that might make it so that other people don't want to play, top 10 it, okay, top 10 it. Make sure that whoever the winner is gets like 50% of everything, okay? So if we're now talking, there's 500 people playing, that means there's 1 million, which means that what we're giving out is we're giving out 500,000. Okay, let's make sure that the person who comes in first gets a good reward. Okay, so let's divide that by 2. So the Hunger Games winner in this case will get 250,000. And then let's just say that the remaining 9 that are under it to make it top 10, they would each get 1/9 of what's left. Let's call it 25,000. It's actually 27,777.8. Okay, so they should actually get that. They should actually get exactly what that amount is paid out to them. So it should be the 27,777. But that way we could actually kind of make like a bigger reward trail, and maybe that would encourage more people to play, or more people to play more often, because you don't want to be like, oh, you know what, the guy in first, he's got 100 more wins than me. There's no point in me even trying to play him too far behind. But maybe if you could squeak your way into the top 10 and, you know, you're not getting 250,000 DEC, or you're making a cool like 27,777. That would be good too. So that's another way that we could do it. And again, that keeps the emphasis on like the Hunger Games theme of whoever's the last one surviving getting like the biggest share of the pool. I think that that's important because we're looking for like the big payout for the best players to come in, and this would probably end up being the most competitive form. Because we've got survival, but the thing about survival is if a card dies, hey, you can refresh it, you can rent more cards, you can do whatever you want with it. But the stakes are even higher in Hunger Games mode, because you're literally battling for possibly hundreds of dollars if you come in first in this mode, right? So I think that that's important. Let me go and let's take a quick look here about what we're talking about, make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I didn't miss much here of my notes that I have here for this. I'd love to know your guys' opinion on basically this mode. I'll just do a quick refresh again here, just using some very generalized points on the Hunger Games mode. Hunger Games mode, you contribute 2,000 DEC, that gets you in for the season. The rating is going to be based on the number of cards that you actually eliminate. The winners of this, maybe the top 10 we'll call it for now, whoever's in first gets 50% of the pot that's left, and then number 2 through 10 each get like an equal share of what's remaining. Like, I just love this idea. Oh, sorry. And then you also get every account will be equipped with 1 of every card maxed, kind of like survival mode. When you play a battle, if your card is destroyed, there is no bringing that card back. It is just gone for the rest of the season. Period. End of story. Finished. This is also a non-botted mode. So we'd be able to make sure that we have like humans that are the ones that are fighting for this big prize. And this would show the skill of the human. This is where those Mondroids are going to be able to go and you know, get their victories and stuff. And those Charles FTWs would come in and they'd be able to hopefully get their victories. But it would be on an even playing field. It wouldn't be like, hey, there's this one account that has every card in gold maxed and I don't have every card gold maxed, so I'm at this huge disadvantage. No, everyone would have everything exactly the same. It would be an even playing field, for everybody with a huge prize payout and some burn mechanics built in if we wanted to do that. I mean, we could always just pay everything out all at once, but I think that the burn mechanics in there would be actually kind of pretty cool. So that's kind of like what I was thinking about. You could even do something cool like survive, like this mode. You could even be like, hey, you know what? There's just too much time between these passing, which is taking away like some of the excitement for it. Because if you have to wait 2 weeks, but all your cards are dead after 2 days, you might be less likely to go and continue playing. There's nothing that's saying that we can't have like this, something like this activate once a week and not follow a typical like seasonal format. You could just be like, hey, Hunger Games start on Monday, Hunger Games done on Sunday. Every week there's a new Hunger Games. Take out your 2K, take your chance to go and do this. And again, the cool thing about this is the prizes aren't coming from the DAO. The prizes aren't coming from the company. There's no extra SPS that needs to be like printed or anything, or we don't need to find where these rewards are coming from, because these rewards are coming from the contributions that people are making in the form of the Hunger Games Battle Pass to actually play this mode and fight for that. Like, if we only get 100 people, you're still fighting for 100,000, right? Like 100 times 2,000 equals 200,000 divided by 2 equals 100,000. So you're still fighting in a single player format for $100,000 for 100,000 DEC, even if there's only 100 people in there. And if we were to go and divide it, what that would look like was whoever's in first would get 50,000 DEC, and then number 9 through, and then number 2 through 10 would each get 5,555.55555. So I think this is a really cool idea. I think that this would be a great game mode that would incorporate both survival mode as well as ghost cards. It would be completely separate from the reward pool. Dude, I am loving this. And I hope that someone in a position of power like watches this video and says, you know what, the coding for that actually isn't too bad, because we've already got the coding for survival. We've already got the coding for ghost. It would basically just be like, boom, new tab, go in and play. And even if this isn't something that becomes permanent, because you give it a shot, but then, there's not that much interest in earning 500,000 DEC for one person at the end and getting like a $500 payout and like high stakes poker. At least we tried, and at least we got this new game method tested, So I would love to know you guys' opinions. I will go ahead. I'm going to send it to some of the higher ups this video as well and be like, hey, what do you think about this? See what they think as well. Shout out to, again, Doloknight. Follow, like, share, subscribe to his content. GetheringtheMagic. Follow, like, share, subscribe to his content as well. And as always, it is your friend, faithful and true, Sai the Sai, signing off. I'll see you guys around Pretoria. Take care, my friends. Peace.